Very pretty place to start off the episode. Hold on. I always forget. Let's go invisible, shall we? Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Gw2. I'm going to be sat here for a while today. I still hate that skull. I'm going to turn that off. Yeah, today I've decided, instead of just doing like one mission and then stopping and then doing another mission and then stopping, I'm just going to complete like the whole Sylvari chapter here. And it's not necessarily that I want to get through it quickly, but I think I'll probably just relax into it all a little bit more, and it feels more like a normal LP if I do it this way. I think the way I've been doing it before, it's kind of, I don't know, also regimented and just, oh, we're doing strictly this and then we're doing this. And I kind of appreciate having an episode end and feel like we've accomplished something, but I also really like to just kind of get stuck in and play the game for a while. So these next few episodes will probably just be me sat here. What is it? Today it's Monday night, 9:10 at night, and my sleep schedule's off, so I've not been awake for very long, so I should be nice and bright and awake. And yeah, we'll just keep playing until at least this first, like, chapter section's done. I've grinded my way up to level 10, as you can see here. I'm hoping that will see us through the quest, so we'll see what happens. Last time, before we continue, let's read what pitiful little thing ArenaNet's added for us. No, wrong menu there. We want to go to Hero, this one here. We'll see what ArenaNet's written for our story. For Call to Service, which we did. Oh, look, there's an actual reasonable man here. You helped the residents of Caledon Forest. Yes, we did. Then a white stag has been seen in the Verdant, just like in my dream, I write. I must find out what it means. See, what is this? You helped the residents, third person, clearly not written by us. And now suddenly we're in first person, was written by us, and present tense, when this was past tense. I mean, what's this? Anyway, a white stag has been seen in the Verdants, just like in my dream. I must find out what this means. So we tracked the stag last episode, if you guys remember. Sylvaria spreading the tale of the white stag roaming the Caledon Forest. I dreamed of such a stag. He may be elusive, but I believe I can find him. So we went in, we looked, and while looking for the legendary white stag, I came upon a hunter named Gavin. I rescued him from trouble, and he offered to help with my quest. So Gavin seemed like an alright kind of guy. I have played all the way through this first chapter now. I know all the specifics of what's coming up in the quests, as well as the general overview, so should be pretty interesting. I'll try not to give things away. We'll go into the next quest. We're just going to meet up with Gavin and continue to track the stag together. It's a bit of an unlikely friendship. I'm not quite sure why we've teamed up in the way we have. It wasn't that convincing before, but hey. This, by the way, is one of my favourite areas of Caledon. I really like the big kind of red petals and stuff. So yeah, we'll just kind of head on. Oh, this is a strange land, I'm sure it is. Also, a lot of new stuff's going on here with our skills, which we'll look at when we get into combat and stuff. Anyway, there's a bunch of people here. Blanche, Morrigu, Urace. I'm not sure if these are references to something. Certainly I recognise a lot of the names. There's a Sylvan hound here. These hounds are born from the Pale Tree, just like we are. Like, the Pale Tree really gives birth to two things. Us, which are very sentient creatures. The Sylvari, but then there's also these hounds too. I mentioned these before. These, a very similar thing called thorn wolves we saw in the Echo Forest, and indeed a group of Sylvari are creating thorn wolves for themselves. Thorn wolves seem to be like the corrupted version of the Sylvan hounds, which we'll look at. There's also a pretty cool heart quest nearby that deals with like taming and helping those. But anyway, hello Gavin. How are you doing?
Gavin, are you feeling better?
I am, thanks to you. I have good news. The white stag has been seen in this area recently. If we hurry, we could catch up to it.
That watchtower over there gives me an idea. From the top, we can get the lay of the land and possibly a glimpse of our quarry.
You have a true hunter's instincts, Valiant. That's exactly what we should do. When the stag appears, we shall give chase until it tires. Together we will harry it, and then the beast shall be ours.
Alright. That didn't sound mean at all. I mean, we are catching it for the greater good. By the way, this tower, like, why do I not recognise this as being a thing, like, in my travels ever in regular Caledon Forest? I'm sure it is here, but I've never climbed it before. Anyway, we've got a character here, Valiant Kaliek. Or Kaliak, or Kalech, I suppose, who we can speak to, who gives us some pretty interesting information that I'd like to expand on just a little bit. She says, we're the wardens stationed here to hold back the undead from Care Verdant. Do you bring news from the Grove? So yeah, the wardens, of course, we talked about them before. These are the guys that are defending Caledon Forest, headed by Nima, Cycle of Dawn, I think. I'm doing my best, by the way, to like learn about very specifically who's the leader of each cycle and what the cycles represent with the Grove, because I did kind of a lot of looking into it, and I feel like I'm a bit remiss in how much I know about the Silvari. I mean, I know that there are the cycles, and I know that there are the Firstborn and so forth, but until very recently, and I'm still not that good at it, I couldn't really recite exactly what each did. Like, it was never that solid in my mind, as a lot of other really solid other lore was that maybe we'd got from the first game, so yeah, I'm trying to remember this stuff. Anyway, can you tell me more about the Wardens? We already know a fair bit. She says simply that we're the guardians of Caledon Forest. In service to the Pale Tree, we keep these lands safe. So, of course, we've seen a little bit of that. A lot of the events around Caledon Forest are to do with this, too. They don't seem that good, frankly, considering how many undead are about. But, hey, I always find it hard to swallow in this game, like, where, you know, the undead are supposed to be attacking. This is all here, of course, not too far away. Like, you'd expect them to be kind of attacking from here, but you never really see that. They're just kind of splotched around all over the place, and you can never see a real kind of push-pull going on between the forces of the Silvari and the Orions. They're just kind of all over the place. But hey, I can excuse that. Anyway, the group that just left, those people we saw, where were they going? They're headed out on patrol, he says. Occasionally one of the undead slip past our watch, and we have to find them before they get into the forest. Why? Would that be a bad thing? So we're playing kind of the naive Silvari here, we've just been born. Goodness, yes, he says. Because one of those foul creatures could cause a great deal of corruption if it ran amok through the Caledon. So this is kind of an interesting comment. When I was playing through this the other day, I thought I really wanted to point this out. That he mentions this is a serious problem if the undead are about, because they can cause a great deal of corruption. But the Silvari themselves cannot be corrupted. The Silvari are immune to the corruption of other dragons, and there's some interesting theories that go along those lines. But really, this just demonstrates quite nicely, if you know that fact, how selfless the Silvari are. They're just kind of this curious race that's just come onto the planet that can't be corrupted by these undead that are threatening everyone else, but they take it so to heart to defend the rest of the forest. And we're going to see why that is. It's because they believe in one of the tenets that this centaur I mentioned left, which is that all things have a right to grow. And it's really quite a nice idea. I mean, if the Silvari were more selfishly minded, then they could certainly have come to Tyria, seen that they're basically these creatures that do not age, that are immune to the corruption of the dragons, arguably the greatest threat to the other races of Tyria right now, and are continuously creating more and more of them at what seems like an exponential rate right now, until we get to the amount of Silvari that are being created as player characters, essentially. And like, they're in a very strong position. They're new to Tyria, but they're in a strong position, and if they don't worry about the affairs of the other races and, you know, preserving this biological variety, I suppose, then they could, you know, they could conquer Tyria in some serious ways. And a big theme that we're going to be seeing through these next few quests is, why are they so selfless like this, rather than as selfish as they could be? And as I say, it's to do with this tablet and very much tied to these quests that are coming up. Anyway, it makes sense. Okay, thank you very much. So, you're a nice Silvari. We're tracking a white stag. Have you seen one in this area? I haven't spotted myself, he says, but I've heard it's roaming the forest, so the legends are true. Quite true, we say, and we plan to find it. Can I see, this is funny too, because like just now we were playing the naive Silvari that didn't know anything, and now we're supposed to know about these legends of the white stag. I mean, all we really know is that we saw one in a dream, and that we know it's around here somewhere. I mean, I don't think anyone really knows what these legends are, except maybe, that it's been sighted. Anyway, do you know my friend Gavin, my new friend? No, but he said he was meeting a friend here. You, I assume. He was a solid, likeable fellow. Fought undead with us. Brilliant. So, at least we know that Gavin hates the undead. May I ask another question? Obviously, they were trying to kill him before, so that's not surprising. And he just says that he's one of the wardens. Okay, so that's brilliant. We got Guard Dillis here, another warden. Pretty cool bow. Greetings, stranger, she said. If you've seen any undead wandering the area, be sure to tell Warden Kaliak. Sure. Okay, so we get our 3 different personality things. I made this character as a ferocious character because I thought, you know, Necromancer should be kind of ferocious, a bit like our Char. But whenever I play, I can never bring myself to say the ferocious ones. I almost always go with the dignity, always. With so many Wardens here, I can't imagine many undead get through. Not many, no, but even one can cause a problem. We do our best. So yeah, I like that as well. It's kind of like a hint they're like zombies. Anyway, God well, Warden, stay safe. Brilliant. So we're going to climb up this tree here. This is an asset that's used at the start of a jumping puzzle in the game, but much, much, much bigger, which is quite cool. Which I've done on another video. It probably won't appear in the LP though. And here's Gavin.
Ah, the white stag appears.
Look below. Hello.
Do you see the stag? Step lightly. We cannot alert the stag to our presence.
Okay, so despite the fact he says step lightly, it doesn't actually matter. You're just going to chase this thing around. That stag is a remarkable creature, but he will grow wary. We must give chase. Go gently. Do not frighten the creature. We'll win this game in time. Indeed we will. Stay near me, and we'll see if we're stalwart enough to catch him. An excellent plan. So we spy the stag instantly, of course. It wouldn't be fun to make a game where we have to sit about for, you know, 12 hours until finally appears. I notice it starts raining in the quest as well. I didn't spot that last time. We're going to go down basically and start fighting the stag. Well, no, not fighting the stag. We're going to start chasing her around, and we'll see that it's not the easiest thing in the world. The stag itself's got a pretty cool effect on it that you'll see. It's got like when you kill stuff in this game, enemies' bodies will glow with this certain kind of shining aura that shows you that there's loot to be had from them. And this guy just has that effect on him permanently. So I don't know whether ArenaNet just picked the effect because they were like, oh, this is something shiny, it will make the stag look significant. Or whether they did it because they know that, you know, existing players of the game are kind of conditioned to just hone in on anything with that sparkly shininess. So it kind of gives that extra aspect to the stag, which I quite like. I found it quite interesting. But yeah, we're just going to chase him. You don't step lightly. There's no... You know what what I was thinking when I originally played this, right, of what could make this an interesting, you know, personal story mission, you know, how this could have been done in other games. And it made me immediately think of Pokemon Gold or Silver or the remakes, I suppose. There's this bit where you go in a forest, kind of near the start, where you have to chase down a Pokemon that's in there, and you kind of have to chase it through this maze and lure it to the start of the forest so that you can actually return it to its owner. And that's kind of a cool, interesting way of doing things. And I thought that would be a really interesting way, that would have been a fun way to have done this quest too, but... no, ArenaNet didn't go with anything like that. It's just kind of run at him. It doesn't matter what angle you run at him from. You're not kind of luring him to any specific location into a trap or anything. You're just going to keep chasing him while undead decide that they want to fight you for whatever random reason. And you keep doing that until eventually you catch him. And then it's done in a really weird way as well, which I'll show you. But like, Gavin's supposed to throw a net at him or something, and then it doesn't go too well. Anyway, that's jumping ahead. So my skills have changed a little bit. Last time we were on Axe Warhorn. We're now on Dagger. I don't actually think Dagger is that fun either for Necromancer. I think Dagger offhand can be very fun for a Condi build, but so far from what I've seen of main hand Dagger, though I know it's viable in SPVP, especially if you're running a power Necro, which seems like it could be kind of fun, not something I've personally done. For PvE, I'm not too sure about it. I am a light armored class. I don't have as much healing. I've got more vitality than I had when I was on my Ellie, but I don't really feel comfortable being this close to do damage. You do suck a lot of life force in this spec though, so in a weird way you do kind of have more health just because you are afforded to go into Death Shroud more frequently. But I don't know. And then the Immobilize skill 3 seems kind of useless when we're talking about a solo spec. You know, it's just me fighting enemies. The Immobilize seems kind of useless because it's a melee weapon, so what? You're going to immobilize them, they can't move. Well, it doesn't matter because you're still standing right next to the damn guy to actually be able to hit him with 2 of your other skills. So it seems a bit redundant to me. I'm curious why they would have put it on this weapon, unless of course it's so that you can immobilize someone, so you can run over to them and actually hit them instead of them just constantly kiting you. But the Dagger offhand, as I say, is a bit more interesting. Despite being Dagger, these both have 900 range on these skills, which is quite good. You're right there, Gavin. Do you actually have stuff to say to me as well? So this is pretty good. It's a bouncing blind here. Only 3 bounces, a bit of damage. It's not amazing actually, the skill 4, but the skill 5 is pretty cool. It's weakness. Weakness is vastly underrated, I think, by a lot of people. Like those glancing blows, it's ridiculous. It reduces their damage so much, and also the less endurance as well. When we're talking about PvP, is very, very cool. And also bleeds. So you can drop that AoE on an area with a scepter in your main hand and have quite a good Condi build. So these are Dagger. I unlocked them just while I was grinding. I also unlocked weapon swapping because we're level 10. So in my other weapon, I've got this staff here. Necro staff, I think, is pretty fun actually for PvP. I really do. Obviously, I've not got any of these abilities unlocked, so we'll get these as we go through. The first one is Necrotic Grasp. It just kind of fires out this bolt in a line that will hit stuff. But all the other skills are marks. And marks, their abilities you only get on the staff on a Necro or with a particular elite later on, which we'll eventually get to. But marks you kind of lay on the ground. They're a bit like ranger traps in a lot of regards, and if people walk over them, they'll trigger them and do pretty good damage. I've also unlocked my final skill here, so we've got Fear here on skill 3. We've got Dark Path, the Bleed, and the Chill, which I showed you before on the teleport. Life transfer, means if you're in a big group of enemies, you'll suck all their life force and be able to stay in Death Shroud for longer and do pretty decent damage as well. Oh god, I'm trying to suppress a cough here. So yeah, Death Child's pretty cool. We'll look more at the skills later though. So anyway, the Stag's here and has just been waiting for us for a while. Oh, I thought we were done there, honestly. Hold on, Gavin, before you keep going, where is Gavin? There you are. Hello. He does have stuff. He says, that Stag is a remarkable creature, but who will grow wary, we must give chase. Okay, no, we've already said that. Okay, are you done now, White Stag?
Victory.
Yeah, what happened with me before was I just chased the Stag and Gavin got held up fighting, so I was just stood sort of like with the Stag doing nothing for ages until Gavin eventually came and
But
threw
now
a
I
net.
must leave, and I will be taking the White Stag with me. You're welcome to come, of course. Your skills as a hunter would be an asset to the court.
The Nightmare Court. Who are they, and what are you doing? Gavin, the Stag must go back to the Grove. Keith is waiting for us there.
No, my noble friend. The White Stag is coming with me. Once we turn it to the Nightmare, the Stag will be a powerful weapon against the Dream. It is a manifestation of hope and faith. In Nightmare, it will be just the opposite. A creature of despair and hatred. Through its power, the Pale Tree will be freed of the chains forged by Ventari's tablet.
A weapon? Gavin, this is wrong. The White Stag is a peaceful creature. You can't turn it into something cruel.
I can. We can. Come with me. You would be celebrated, possibly even knighted by the Grand Duchess herself.
No, Gavin. I'll never join the Nightmare Court.
Ah, that's a pity. It grieves me greatly to turn predator into prey, Valiant. But I cannot have you interfere. Farewell.
Gavin, you've betrayed me, but we were such fast friends.